Your home isn't dirty. It's untrained. And there is a very specific difference between those two things. A dirty home needs cleaning. An untrained home needs something Japan figured out generations ago. 6 habits so small, they barely feel like habits at all, but together they mean your home cleans itself more than it ever gets messy in the first place. Stay with me until habit number 6, because number 6 is the one that makes the other 5 permanent. Without it, you'll try these for a week and drift back to exactly where you are right now. With it, the whole thing runs on its own. But first, number 3 is the one that's going to surprise you. Because number 3 has nothing to do with cleaning products, nothing to do with organization systems, and it takes 4 seconds. 4 seconds, and it solves the problem most people spend their entire Saturday trying to fix. Let's begin. Most of us think about cleaning the wrong way. We treat it as an event, something that happens on Saturday morning, or whenever things get bad enough that we can't ignore them anymore. We clean until the house looks right, then we wait for it to get wrong again, then we clean again. The cycle never ends because the model is broken. Japan doesn't clean that way. In Japan, cleaning is not an event. It is a series of almost invisible behaviors embedded inside ordinary moments, so consistent and so small that mess simply never gets the foothold it needs to build. There is a concept behind this called Kaizen, continuous improvement through steps so tiny they barely register as change. And there is a cleaning philosophy called Soji, rooted in Zen Buddhist temple practice, where space is maintained through brief daily attention rather than periodic, exhausting effort. 6 habits. Each one almost insultingly simple. Each one the difference between a home that piles up and one that stays clear. Let's go through every single one. Habit number 1. Take your shoes off at the door every single time. No exceptions. You have heard this one before, but I want you to stay with me for a moment because most people hear this and think it's about keeping floors clean. It is not just about keeping floors clean. It is about something far more fundamental, and once you understand the mechanism behind it, you will never walk through your own front door in shoes again. Here is what is actually happening when you keep your shoes on inside. Research on household contamination has found that the average shoe sole carries hundreds of thousands of bacteria, including E. coli and other pathogens picked up from parking lots, public restrooms, sidewalks, and every other surface your shoes have touched that day. Between 90 and 99% of those transfer directly to your indoor floors on first contact, not eventually. On first contact. Every single step you take through your home and outdoor shoes is a deposit. And here is what that means for your cleaning. Your floors are never starting from clean. They're starting from a baseline of everything you walked through that day, and every time you clean, you're not maintaining a surface, you're recovering one. In Japan, the genkan, the small, dedicated entryway where shoes come off before anyone enters the living space, is not a cultural preference. It is the single most effective act of home maintenance available. It is not cleaning. It is preventing what makes cleaning necessary. The West built welcome mats and asked the outside world to wipe its feet. Japan built a boundary and asked it to stay outside entirely. The difference in what reaches your floors is not small, and the difference in how often those floors need real attention is not small either. A shoe rack by the door, a bench to make it easy, a basket of slippers so the transition is natural, not a rule you have to enforce. That is the entire setup. The shift. Every shoe you take off at the door is a cleaning session you will never have to do. That is the habit number 1. Now, habit number 2 is where this gets interesting, because habit number 2 is something almost everyone does, but almost nobody does intentionally. And that gap between doing it and doing it intentionally is the entire difference. Habit number 2, clean as you go. Every single time you use a surface. This sounds obvious. It is not obvious. Because cleaning as you go does not mean wiping down the kitchen at the end of the night. It means wiping the stovetop the moment you finish cooking. It means wiping the bathroom counter the moment you finish at the sink. It means returning the cutting board to its place the moment you're done chopping. Not later, not when you're cleaning, the moment you are done. Here is the psychology behind why most people don't do this, even though they know they should. Psychologists call it the Zeigarnik Effect, the finding that the human brain fixates on uncompleted tasks far more than completed ones. Every surface you leave slightly dirtier than you found, it is an open loop in your brain. A low-level, unresolved signal running in the background, consuming a fraction of your attention and a fraction of your cortisol all day without your permission. A kitchen counter left with crumbs after breakfast is not just a dirty counter. It is 3 open loops. A stovetop with last night's splatter is not just a dirty stovetop. It is an open loop that has been quietly draining you since last night, getting harder to close with every hour that passes. In Japan, the practice of cleaning as you go is so deeply embedded, it has its own cultural framing. The idea that the space around you is a direct reflection of the mind inside you. You do not let your space deteriorate between uses because you do not let your mind stay in a state of unresolved business. The shift. The 2 minutes you spend wiping a surface the moment you use it saves you 45 minutes on Saturday. Not metaphorically, mathematically. That is habit number 2. Now, habit number 3, the 4-second habit I told you about at the beginning. Stay right here, because this one is going to sound too small to matter. And then you will try it for 3 days, and you will understand why it is on this list. Habit number 3, wipe the sink dry every single time you use it. After you wash your hands, after you brush your teeth, after the dishes, every single time, 1 cloth, 1 wipe, 4 seconds, the sink looks exactly as it did before you used it. Slow down here, let this land, because I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, that is so minor, it can't actually make a difference. Here is what it is actually doing. In Japan, there is a concept called mizumawari, written with characters that mean the areas around water. Kitchens, bathrooms, any surface near a faucet or drain. In traditional Japanese thinking, mizumawari is treated as a reflection of the mind. Standing water, damp surfaces, water spots drying on a mirror or a tap, these are seen as breeding grounds for stagnant energy, not just in the physical space, in the mental space of the person living inside it. The modern science arrives at the same place differently. Research from the Princeton Neuroscience Institute has shown that visual clutter and unresolved small messes in the immediate environment compete for the brain's attention continuously, below the threshold of conscious awareness. You are not consciously noticing the damp sink, but your brain is, multiple times a day. Small, repeated signals of disorder, each one triggering a micro-response in the nervous system. Here is the compounding effect of those micro-responses over the course of a week. You walk past a cluttered bathroom counter 40 times. Your brain registers it 40 times. 40 small cortisol signals you did not choose, did not notice, and did not have to pay. Because 4 seconds each time you use the sink would have closed it before it opened. The shift. A damp, spotted sink is not a dirty sink. It is an untrained sink. Train it once with one cloth on one hook, and 4 seconds after every use closes the tab permanently. That is habit number 3. And now habit number 4. And this one builds on everything we've done so far in a way that will completely change how Saturday mornings feel. Habit number 4, the 10-minute daily reset. Every single evening before anything else. Not a deep clean, not an organization session, not catching up. 10 minutes, and only 10, of returning everything you can see from where you are standing to the state it was in that morning. Counter wiped, cushion straight, dishes done, things returned to their one home. That is it. A hard stop at 10 minutes. Here is why the 10-minute limit is as important as the 10 minutes themselves. Most people who try to tidy up at the end of the day fall into one of 2 traps. Either they do nothing because they are tired, and the thought of cleaning after a full day feels impossible. So the evening passes, and tomorrow starts with yesterday's mess already waiting. Or they start cleaning and keep going until it becomes a project, which trains the brain to associate the reset with effort and dreading it, which makes skipping it feel more attractive than starting it. 10 minutes is neither of those things. 10 minutes is small enough that exhaustion is not an excuse. It is specific enough that it ends before it becomes a burden. And it is consistent enough that the brain begins to treat it as automatic. Not a decision, just what happens before the evening begins. In Japan, this is rooted in the concept of soji, the brief daily practice of maintaining space through small, repeated attention. Zen monasteries have practiced a version of this for centuries, not because monks have extra time, because they understood that a space maintained daily never becomes a space you have to fight. Research on habit formation, including work published in the European Journal of Social Psychology, has found that the behaviors most likely to become truly automatic are those performed consistently at a specific time linked to a regular daily trigger. Every day, same window, same cue. The trigger here is the end of the workday or before dinner or the moment you sit down in the evening, whatever is most consistent for your life. The shift. A home that resets for 10 minutes every evening never becomes the home that requires an entire Saturday to undo. 10 minutes tonight means the weekend is yours. That is habit number 4. Now, habit number 5 is the one most people skip. Not because it is hard, because it sounds too specific to matter. But I promise you, this one habit eliminates more cleaning time than any product you have ever bought. Habit number 5. Assign every single object in your home exactly one home, and return it every time, not a general area, not the kitchen counter or somewhere in the bedroom, one specific place, the same drawer, the same shelf, the same hook, the same basket, every time, without exception. In Japan, this principle is sometimes described as a core expression of wabi-sabi, the philosophy of simple, ordered, intentional living. Every object in a Japanese home tends to have a precise place, because a home where everything has a place is a home where disorder cannot gain footing. Things do not pile up because there is nowhere for them to pile up. Every object already knows where it belongs, and returning it, there is a reflex, not a decision. Here is the mechanism that makes this one of the most powerful habits on this list. Clutter does not accumulate because people are lazy. It accumulates because of decision fatigue. Decision fatigue is a well-documented psychological phenomenon. The brain's capacity to make good decisions degrades with each choice it makes throughout the day. By evening, after hundreds of small decisions, the brain's default response to "where does this go?" becomes, "Here is fine, I'll deal with it later." A home where every object has exactly one home removes that decision entirely. The question, "Where does this go?" has only one answer, and that answer required zero cognitive effort to access. Put it back, and the object is gone. Not deferred, not delayed, gone. Return it to anywhere else, and something is wrong. The place is specific enough that wrong is obvious. The shift. Clutter is not a cleaning problem. It is a decision problem. Give every object one home, and you remove the decision permanently. That is habit number 5. And now, habit number 6. The one I told you at the very start makes all 5 of the others permanent. Stay here, because this is the most important thing in this entire video. Habit number 6. Lower your threshold for what counts as done. This one is not about cleaning at all. It is about the standard you are setting, and most people are setting a standard that guarantees they will never maintain it. Here is what I mean. Most people have an unconscious idea of what clean looks like. It is a high standard. A fully wiped down kitchen, a fully cleared counter, a vacuumed floor, a bathroom that looks like a hotel. And that standard is fine when you are doing a full clean. The problem is that standard becomes the bar for whether it is worth doing anything at all. If you cannot get the kitchen to the full standard, why bother wiping the counter? If you cannot clean the whole bathroom, why wipe the sink? This is the all or nothing trap. And it is the reason most cleaning habits fail within 2 weeks. Not because the habits were wrong, because the standard they were being measured against made imperfect effort feel worthless. Japan has a different philosophy. It is called kanso. Simplicity, the removal of what does not belong, the maintenance of what does. Kanso is not a high standard held occasionally. It is a low standard held always. The counter does not have to be immaculate. It has to be better than it was 30 seconds ago. The sink does not have to be scrubbed. It has to be dry. Lower the threshold, not the result. The threshold for when action is worth taking. Because a wipe that takes 4 seconds and leaves the sink 80% better is infinitely more valuable than a scrub that takes 45 minutes and leaves it 100% better. If the 4-second wipe happens every day and the 45-minute scrub happens twice a year, imperfect action, repeated daily, produces results that perfect action attempted occasionally never will. The shift. You do not need to clean. You need to consistently choose the small thing over doing nothing every single time. That is what Japan has done for generations. That is what a calm, clean home actually is. Not a space that gets cleaned. A space where cleaning never fully stops. That is habit number 6. Here is everything in one breath. Shoes off at the door every time. The outside world stays outside. Clean as you go, every surface left better than you found it. Wipe the sink dry every single time. 4 seconds, close the tab, close the loop. 10 minutes of daily reset before your evening begins. One home for every object, returned every time without exception. And lower the threshold. Imperfect action, repeated daily, over perfect action, attempted rarely. 6 habits. None of them require a cleaning product you do not already own. None of them require a Saturday you do not have. Every single one begins in the next room. The next time you use a surface, the next time you walk through your own front door. Your home is not untrained because you are lazy. It is untrained because nobody ever gave you these 6 habits. Now you have them. So here is what I want from you before you close this video. Right now, tell me in the comments, which one of these 6 is the habit your home is most missing? Is it number 1? Are you still walking through your house in outdoor shoes every day? Is it number 3? Is your sink sitting there damp and spotted right now while you watch this? Is it number 5? Do you have surfaces in your home covered in objects that have no specific place to belong? Tell me the number, 1 through 6, in the comments right now, because naming it is the first step. And someone reading your comment might recognize themselves in it and finally decide to start. If this changed something about the way you think about your home, share it with one person whose space you have been inside and quietly thought, they deserve to feel better in here. They are 6 small habits away from a home that finally stays the way they want it. I will see you in the next one.